शारदे वरदे ये मेरी बुद्धि हो जाए प्रबल, मर्म में मेरे कृपा कर, मर्म में मेरे कृपा कर, आप आए हंस कर। शारदे वरदे ये मेरी बुद्धि हो जाए प्रबल, शारदे वरदे कि मेरी बुद्धि हो जाए प्रबल, शारदे वरदे कि मेरी बुद्धि हो जाए प्रबल।
Thank you, ma'am. Further, I would like to request Professor M.K. Sharma, Dean Faculty of Commerce and Management, to extend floral greetings to Shri Jai Singh Kochari, Founder and Managing Director, Nafa Nuksan, Jaipur, and to Professor N.D. Mathur, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. Thank you, sir.
University, Professor M.K. Sharma, Dean Faculty of Commerce and Management, and dear colleagues and students, I extend a hearty welcome to all of you in the seminar on Union Budget 2016-17, Expectations and Outcomes, jointly organized by the Department of HRM and IB and GRID. The IIS University is to be a university and is amongst the first 38 universities in India placed under Category A by the Human Resource Development Government of India. It is known for excellence in imparting meaningful education to students and to encourage them to think innovatively. It particularly focuses on empowering women to face challenges of life with confidence and also provide creative leadership in the times to come. Union Budget is a comprehensive statement of the government's finance, including spending, revenues, deficit, surplus and debt for the fiscal year. Budget plays a very significant role in the nation's development. The present seminar aims to provide a forum for discussing the expectation of industry as well as individuals from the Union Budget 2016-17 as well as its outcome. It will provide an opportunity to students to deliberate on how the present budget is going to impact the functioning of Indian economy. I'm sure the panel discussion will let a new perspective of all the students. On behalf of the IIS University, I once again extend a hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Dr. Rupam Kothari, Associate Professor, the IIS University, to kindly take over the panel discussion.
Thank you, Ruchi. I would request all the experts on panel and Professor M.K. Sharma, Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management, to kindly take their seats. From farms to fuel subsidies, from toilets to tablets, from stalled projects to startups, will this Union Budget 2016-17 help or hurt the general public? Namaskar. Esteemed speakers on the panel, respected deans, professors, colleagues and my dear friends, I welcome you all to this panel discussion on Union Budget 2016-17. Friends, discussion is a means to explore and organize the thoughts and feelings for mental recreation. Today we have amongst us the experts from different fields to apprise us with the apparent and concealed facts underlying Union Budget 2016-17. Albert Einstein once quoted, "The hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax." And this holds true for most of us even today. Today we are fortunate to have Shri Rajiv Soganiji with us as one of our panel experts. Shri Soganiji is an eminent personality in the field of chartered accountancy. He is the head of direct tax vertical of the firm and also provides business consultancy. In addition, he provides his technical inputs in statutory audits, internal audits and company law related matters. Apart from being a prominent figure in the field of direct taxes, he has also held distinguished positions like panel trainer for conducting professional education programs on behalf of ICAI, panel reviewer for carrying out peer review of the CA firms on behalf of ICAI, member of Fiscal Law Committee of the CA Institute Delhi, Secretary of Jaipur Tax Tribunal Bar, Jaipur, to name a few. He has also been associated with appellate proceedings of income tax and has an expertise in providing business advisory and consultancy services. I would now request Sogani sir to kindly express his views and make us understand the intricacies of direct tax provisions as announced in Union Budget 2016-17. Sir, please.
Chairman of this session, Professor N.K. Sharma, my co-panelists on the panel, Professor Mathur, Modani ji and Jaising Si Sahab, Dr. Rakhi Gupta and other faculty members of the university and dear students. This budget 2016, I'll be dealing, probably I'm given 20 minutes to express the direct tax proposals. I'll be dealing only and only to direct tax, that is income tax proposals which are contained, and those also the significant proposals which are contained in budget 2016. Friends, you all know that this budget presentation is a very hyped exercise in our country. In other countries, it is not that much hyped. Normally, the governments proceed on a broad principle and the broad guidelines provided to the government by various, like Niti Aayog in our country. Therefore, the budget in those countries is not a very hyped event. But interestingly, in our country, the budget is a very hyped event. Friends, for you people to understand, this is the figure our budget is proposing. Budget 2015-16, the income tax collection was 7,97,995 lakhs crores rupees. As against that, it is 8,47,097 for the budget 2016-17, a reasonable increase in spite of the economy not doing well, and also the fact that tax rates are not increased. You will find that indirect taxes, which comprise of excise, custom and service tax, there are three components presently of the indirect taxes. They individually contribute equally, and excise 229,808, against that there is increase of 318,669, and this is again because there is increase in excise duty on petroleum products. Therefore, that is the expected increased revenue in excise collection for 2016-17. Customs 2,08,336 to 2,30,000, and service tax also. There is a misconception that service tax receipts are much higher than excise or customs, but you will find it is not so. Service tax is increasing, but its collection is still not that big a component in our indirect tax collections. And you will find that in our country, all three indirect taxes taken together still are less than the direct tax collection. Income tax के collection से तीनों indirect taxes का collection कम है. In any developed and matured economy, normally the indirect tax collection is higher, but in our country, the VAT which is collected by the state governments, that is not forming part here. Therefore, when GST is introduced, then this figure will go high and it will definitely exceed the direct tax collection many folds. Tax rates, always whenever there is a budget, there is a discussion, some relief in tax rates. Normally, this time it was expected that the tax rates would not be reduced. So there is no change in the tax rates, except there is some increase. There is increase in surcharge from 12% to 15% if the total income is more than 1 crore of rupees. This is called tax on super rich people. You must have read in the newspaper and the electronic media, the discussion is that there is tax on super rich people, and this is applicable on individuals, HUF only, it is not applicable on corporates. Then there is a dividend tax which is imposed on individuals at the rate of 10% if the dividend received is more than 10 lakhs of rupees per individual per annum. You all must be aware that whenever dividend is declared, the dividend distribution tax is paid by the company, and the recipient of the dividend has not to pay any tax on that. But if the recipient happens to receive 10 lakhs rupees or more of the dividend, then 10% tax will have to be there. The finance minister is of the view that dividend distribution tax is paid at the rate of 15% and normal tax rate is 30%. Therefore, the gap should be bridged at least by super rich people. They must pay 10% extra. And dividend distribution tax is not 15% if grossed up and surcharge taken together, the effective rate comes to 20%. So therefore 20% will be borne by the company which is declaring the dividend, 10% will be borne by the individuals who are receiving the dividend if the dividend in their hands is 10 lakhs rupees or more. Then tax at the rate of 29% for certain companies. Friends, you all must know that in the last budget, Finance Minister has announced that he is proposing reduction of the tax rate from existing 30% to 25% on corporates. But for reducing the tax rate to 25%, what he is proposing is that all incentives will be withdrawn. The commerce students, those who are reading income tax, will know that a lot of incentives are provided to different corporates, maybe based on certain types of incomes, maybe based on certain types of investments, maybe based on accelerated depreciation on investment in plant and machinery to boost industrial growth. The finance minister feels that all those incentives ultimately result into an effective rate much less than 25%. Therefore, what he feels is, let us dispense with all the incentives and reduce the rate to 25%. In that direction, one thing that he has done is 1% reduction on companies having turnover of less than 5 crores of rupees. So it's a very small benefit to very small companies, and that too, it is not income 5 crores, it is turnover. So 5 crores turnover is a very small figure for corporate entities. Therefore, there is hardly any benefit which is passed on. But this is something new which the government, that is the finance minister, is proposing. What he says, it will take time for all the incentives which are already part of the law to say dispense with, to eliminate them or to have a sunset clause on those incentives. Therefore, what he is proposing, he has given this option to the corporate entities that if I don't want to avail of any of those benefits by way of accelerated depreciation or other income or investment based incentives, then I can opt for a tax rate of 25%. So instead of waiting for the amendment in the law, because that will take some time, whatever आप लोगों ने सुना होगा ना बच्चों की, whatever is proposed once in a budget or once it is part of the law, that cannot be withdrawn normally by the government. अगर गवर्नमेंट ने कहा हुआ है कि स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक जोन में हम टैक्स बेनिफिट देंगे, टैक्स एग्जम्पशन देंगे से till 2020, then normally withdrawing it before 2020 will be very difficult for the government. So in this budget they have given deadline, a roadmap of the sunset clauses, which incentive will be eliminated from the statute book on which date, and pending that this proposition is also given. Let us see what benefit is given or whether the industries are willing to avail of this benefit or not. Now two things, because I don't want to discuss the complex tax propositions which are there. I just want to discuss certain broad things, and for that I have selected one scheme which is announced. Are you aware of this scheme? Dear students, are you aware of this scheme which is normally called VDIS scheme, Voluntary Disclosure of Income Scheme? Are you aware of this? So whenever there is a budget, two things are very prominently discussed in our country. One is why agriculture income is not taxed. Always you will find a lot of discussions कि भाई agriculture income को हमारी country में tax क्यों नहीं किया जाता. You all know agriculture income is totally exempt from taxation. And second debate is whether government will announce any disclosure scheme or what we call amnesty scheme. So this time this scheme is announced. This scheme says that if you have any black money, you can change the color of the money by paying 45% tax. The 45% component is 30% tax, 7.5% is KKC, that is Krishi Kalyan cess, and penalty at the rate of 7.5%. So 100 rupees if you want to convert, you will have to pay 45 rupees. That is the effective tax rate comes to 45%. So by paying 45%, you can avail of this benefit, and wherever in the past you have not paid tax, you can catch up with that and pay 45% tax. Friends, this is the detail of the amnesty scheme till date announced by the government, starting from 1951 to 65 and 75, 81, and the most successful scheme is VDIS 1997, when 33,000 crores of black money were disclosed. That amount was disclosed और उस समय टैक्स रेट 30% थी. 10,000 करोड़ रुपए गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स से मिले थे. This recent most is 2015, when foreign income and assets disclosure scheme was there. It has not been a successful story for that scheme. Only 4,000 crores rupees were disclosed. और इसी में गवर्नमेंट को आप लोगों ने चर्चा सुनी होगी that the money which is there in the Swiss banks. So government was expecting that through this amnesty scheme, that money which is lying there in the Swiss bank will be disclosed by the citizens of this country, but unfortunately that has not taken place. Now friends, again the question, big question is whether this scheme will be successful or not. This scheme, I am very doubtful, I am skeptical about the success of this scheme, because this tax rate 45% is bit high, and number two, all you know that the existing tax rate is 30%. तो अगर मेरे पास 1 करोड़ रुपए कैश है, तो I will not opt for this scheme. I will pay tax at the regular rate 30% today itself and get that black money converted into white at the rate of 30%. So there is no possibility of my disclosing the cash which I have. Suppose I have jewelry, 1 करोड़ रुपए की मेरे पास ज्वेलरी है. That again income tax के students will understand. I will say that this I have acquired today only. And if I am not able to explain where from I have acquired this jewelry today, what was the source of making investment of 1 crore of rupees, then the government will charge 30% from me. So again, my jewelry, जो मैंने पिछले 10 सालों में acquire की है, will become white by paying 30%. Therefore, again, for jewelry also, this scheme is not likely to be successful. Now, the third thing can be I acquired a land. 5 years back, I acquired a land which I have not disclosed, that I acquired out of my black money. और मान लीजिए 5 साल पहले मैंने 10 लाख रुपए की वो जमीन acquire की थी. If I want to avail of the benefit of this scheme, then I will have to pay tax on the present value of that land. 5 साल पहले वो लैंड 10 लाख रुपीस की मैंने एक्वायर की थी. आज अगर उसकी वैल्यू 1 करोड़ रुपए है तो मुझे 1 करोड़ रुपए पे 45% टैक्स पे करना पड़ेगा. Then again, it is very difficult because my real black money which was invested was just 10 lakhs of rupees. This present valuation of 1 crore is not helping me in my liquid position for paying tax of 45% on 1 crore of rupees. Therefore, I am doubtful that anybody would be willing to disclose the investment in even real estate. Therefore, we are all, the tax professionals in particular, are skeptical about the success of this scheme. Anyhow, for you people, you must know that the present rate is 30%. As against that, the government wants 45% to disclose your past black money. So that is one scheme. But as a student, are you all convinced that such schemes should be announced by the government time and again? Are you convinced that? Then why are you not convinced about such schemes? No, you were nodding that no, it is not. Means government should not announce. Is it not, say, penalizing the honest taxpayers and promoting dishonest taxpayers? So that debate goes on. और आप लोगों की जानकारी के लिए जब VDIS 1997 आया था तो गवर्नमेंट ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में एक एफिडेविट भी दिया था, एक PIL लगी थी और गवर्नमेंट ने कहा था कि now onwards we will not come out with any such scheme, and therefore in this scheme there is a clause for penalty. They say that it is not a normal scheme, it is with penalty. Therefore they can convince the Supreme Court, even if there is any PIL filed against such a scheme, that it is not a normal scheme and we have not violated the affidavit which was filed before the Supreme Court. So that is one scheme which I thought I must discuss and explain to you. Another scheme which is given in this budget is direct tax dispute resolution scheme. Friends, you know that in income tax, the first stage is my assessment is made or completed by assessing officer, which we call ITO. अगर मैंने 1 करोड़ रुपए की इनकम ऑफर की, उसने मेरा असेसमेंट 2 करोड़ रुपए पे कर दिया, इसका मतलब उसने मेरी इनकम में एडिशन कर दिया 1 करोड़ रुपए का. If I am not satisfied and happy or I am aggrieved by this addition, I can go in appeal. I can go before Commissioner of Income Tax appeals. Thereafter, there is a second appeal which is before Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. Now, in the first appeal, CIT appeals के सामने लगभग 3.5 लाख केसेस ऑल ओवर कंट्री पेंडिंग हैं और उनमें करीबन 5.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का टैक्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट है. गवर्नमेंट मींस इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर्स ने एडिशंस कर दिए, बट द असेसीज हैव प्रेफर्ड अपील बिफोर कमिश्नर ऑफ इनकम टैक्स अपील्स, और ऐसे केसेस 3.5 लाख हैं और 5.5 लाख करोड़ का आप लोग देख रहे हैं कि लगभग 8 लाख करोड़ का टोटल टैक्स कलेक्शन कंट्री का 16-17 में प्रपोज्ड है. एज अगेंस्ट दैट जो एरियर्स ऑफ रिकवरी लॉक्ड अप है इन लिटिगेशन, दैट इज 5.5 लाख करोड़ ऑफ रुपीस. गवर्नमेंट चाहती है कि अगर कोई भी जना इन स्कीम्स में अगर डिस्प्यूट्स को एंड करना चाहता है तो वो केवल टैक्स and interest up to the date of assessment. You know, anything which has become due to the government that carries interest with it. Interest is a huge burden on the assessees. So they say that we will charge you tax plus interest as on the date of assessment. आज 3 साल पहले assessment हुआ था तो उस समय तक का जितना इंटरेस्ट है 3 साल का इंटरेस्ट हम वेव कर देंगे So you pay tax and interest if the amount is less than 10 lakhs of rupees, that is the tax amount is less than 10 lakhs of rupees, you pay tax plus interest. And if the amount is more than 10 lakhs of rupees, not only tax and interest up to the date of assessment, but whatever penalty is imposable in that case, pay 25% of penalty also. So for small assessees, that is where the amount involved in litigation is 10 lakhs or less, only interest in penalty, only interest in tax. If the amount involved is more than 10 lakhs of rupees, then it is tax, interest and 25% of the penalty. Penalty का पूरा amount नहीं, 25% जमा कराना होगा. So this is another scheme, and I am hopeful that this scheme can be a success, because otherwise from the government point of view also, government has shown its willingness to reduce litigation. Government ने इन दिनों काफी bold initiatives लिए हैं, and Jain Singh ji साहब is aware that the government has given directions to the income tax officers that wherever in first appeal I have won, जैसे मैंने आप लोगों को बताया, अगर असेसिंग ऑफिसर ने मेरी इनकम 1 करोड़ से 2 करोड़ कर दी, मैं कमिश्नर अपील के पास जाऊंगा, कमिश्नर अपील ने अगर मेरी बात मान ली, वापस इनकम को 1 करोड़ ही कर दिया, that is entire relief is granted to me, then department can go in appeal before the income tax appellate tribunal. Thereafter the department can go to the high court and the department can go to the supreme court also. Now the government says if the tax effect is less than 10 lakhs of rupees, government will not file second appeal before income tax appellate tribunal. So it is a very bold initiative on the part of the government just to end litigation. Wherever assessees have won the appeal, the government is not willing to take the litigation further, and therefore now they want the manner in which the government is taking initiatives for reducing the litigation. They want assessees also to reduce the litigation. So this is the direct tax dispute resolution scheme, which I am hopeful there is a possibility that lot many assessees may opt for, because this scheme gives immunity from prosecution. अगर ITO ने मेरी इनकम 1 करोड़ से 2 करोड़ कर दी है, तो अल्टीमेटली न केवल मुझे टैक्स और पेनल्टी लगेगी, उसके बाद अगर पेनल्टी भी कोर्ट्स ने अप्रूव कर दी, कंफर्म कर दी, तो मुझे जेल की सजा भी हो सकती है. Now, if I opt for this scheme, a big benefit is that the possibility of prosecution, the immunity will be granted. There will not be any prosecution. So therefore there is a possibility lot many people may opt for this scheme. Now third thing, yes, short of time, okay. So third thing is this equalization levy, which is 6%, which you all people will be interested in knowing, because whatever advertisements you are paying to Google, अगर जयपुर में या इंडिया में कोई एंटिटी है और गूगल पे वो कोई एडवर्टीजमेंट होस्ट कर रहे हैं, the entire income goes to Google. Google has no place of business in India, therefore Indian tax laws cannot tax Google for its income which they have earned from activities in India, because the origin of the income is India, and normally the tax principle says that the base country should be eligible to tax. The base country is India here. So we are huge amount India is paying to Google by way of advertisement and certain other services also which they are providing against consideration. Therefore, for the first time, and India is the first country which has levied an equalization levy of 6%. So if I am paying any amount to Google exceeding 1 lakh of rupees in a year, then 6% would be charged by the government from me, 6%, and the threshold limit is 1 lakh rupees a year. So this is equalization levy, which is internationally for the first time India has taken initiative for taxing all those services which are generating income from other tax jurisdictions but are not paying taxes to that particular tax jurisdiction. Therefore, the country is now charging for them. So it will be a trendsetter initiative from Indian side. So friends, that is all. All other propositions are very tax centric or the law centric, I don't think you will be interested in knowing all those things. So probably let us conclude my initial presentation about the budget proposals with reference to these three propositions which are proposed by the Finance Minister in his budget proposals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for giving us a critical analysis of the schemes like income declaration scheme, tax amnesty schemes in India, direct tax dispute resolution scheme, and equalization levy. We are really surprised to know that in a country like India, collection from indirect taxes is much less as compared to the direct tax collections. On this, I would like to quote on behalf of a common man. After the government takes enough to balance the budget, the taxpayer has the job of balancing the budget. And this job is well accomplished with the wise advice and support of a financial advisor. Next on our panel of experts, we have Shri Ashish Mudani. Shri Ashish Mudani is a qualified chartered accountant and founder of SLA Financial Solutions. As a certified planner, his proactive initiatives in the industry have changed the way people perceive financial advisory, which led to the astronomical growth of SLA. Today, his firm extends financial advisory services to more than 4,500 clients. To him, financial consultation is not a number game, but it is more about planning lives. He aspires to make financial planning a part of common man's life and to make their dreams come true. I now request Mudani ji to acquaint us with the different aspects of investment management in the light of Union Budget 2016-17.
Thank you, ma'am. And I would like to extend my thanks to all the faculty here, organizers here, and IIS for giving me an opportunity to speak in front of all of you. On 8th of March, we celebrate International Women's Day. So I would wish everyone a belated one though. Happy Women's Day to all of you. And on that day, SLA conducted a session called Womania. It's about women and money. And generally, women are not truly interested in understanding finance. Am I right?
No,
Wonderful. So, let me give you a figure. Okay, let me give you a figure that will probably go against you. Women are 50% of the global population. Yes? Should be? More than? Okay, so I don't know the figures, but let's say 50%, right? And it will be very sad to know that the asset share, let's say कि पूरी दुनिया की wealth 1 लाख रुपए है, the asset share of women vis-a-vis men is 1:99. Can you believe that? 1:99. That means you all hold 1% of the property of the entire globe, and 99% is held by men counterparts. So it's a what I'm trying to say that by and large, again this is my observation, by and large, women are not interested in finance. So I like to ask the faculty member here: do you take financial decision yourself? Do you take? And let's be very honest with in front of students. Do you take financial decision yourself? No, we don't. We don't. Most of the time we don't. Let's agree here, okay? Right? What you do, वो जानते हैं, उनको पता है. Am I right? He handles it.
But spending decisions they can take.
So shopping is one. So I'll just extend what Sogani ji has said. Talking about just budget here. So there is a very difference between your budget and the government's budget. What's the difference? So what happens in government budget? That government budget knows कि पैसा जाएगा कहाँ उनको खर्चा करना है, यहाँ खर्चा करना है, उनको कोई खर्चे करने हैं अपने वोटिंग के लिए, whatever खर्चे करने हैं, उनको ये नहीं पता होता पैसा आएगा कहाँ से, इसीलिए most of the time they are in deficit, पता ही नहीं होता आएगा कहाँ से. हमारे बजट में तकलीफ होती है that we know पैसा आता कहाँ से है पर पता ही नहीं जाता कहाँ. We don't know. So it's the best message that salaried person receive that my bank account has been created by excess amount. महीने के अंत तक Anton Gopal. Most of them, right? Students के साथ भी ऐसा ही होता है. Those who are staying in PG or whatever, you get some pocket money, something. So when you get money, you're like, wow. And by the end of the month, you are looking for some of your best friend, उससे कुछ पैसे मांग लो, इससे मांग लो, तो कुछ ऐसा budgeting होता है. We all mess up in our budget. So I don't know. I'm not very good at income tax. So I know something about personal finance. So this is just so what I may request is that you should more actively take part in understanding finance and more so personal finance. Right? Out of 4,500 clients I have, probably I know only 45 female candidates who are actively involving with us in financial decision making. Most of the time it's always men. That's the way it is. Now, talking about budget and investments here. See this budget or even the previous one from an investment and savings point of view is kind of a trendsetter. Okay. Now, let's look at the Indian economy and Indian demography as such. Today we are the youngest population, right? We are like 60%. We keep understanding those demography figures. 60% है, 65% है, 35 साल से कम है. But next 20 years, the next couple of decades, we are going to be very aged economy. Very aged economy. So what's the problem? So this entire tag of young India will actually fall off the cliff, and we will be in an old India. Right, that's the way 20 years down the line. So personal finance is not about understanding today, it's about understanding tomorrow as well. So this aging economy, what will be the difficulty? The problem is that India does not have a social security system. Many countries have it. India does not have a social security system. So you guys have to take care of yourself. I'm not too young for you to understand, but I'm just from the budget perspective I'm talking about. I can't talk to these young girls over here talk about retirement. They don't understand retirement. So I'm just saying what from economic perspective. So this is going to fall off the cliff. So India does not have a social security system. So what government has to do is to make sure that India becomes a pension society. So at least the elders are able to take care of themselves. Till now they are not. They depend on their kids or whatever. For that, for creating pension, financial assets are the most lucrative one that can give you a pension. So what is happening is that India has become a kind of a consumer-driven economy जहाँ सब लोग खर्चा करने में लगे हुए हैं. So you have the Flipkarts and the eBays of the world where you can just tap and then spend something. So government has to force you to actually make sure that you save for the future. Otherwise, who will take care of you, right? So there is an instant gratification mass खर्च करना चाहते हैं. Government has to stop that instant gratification and make sure that you save for your future. And that's where the pension, there are a lot of changes are happening on pension system of India. There's a special section given for national pensions, a new pension scheme. Right, so they have a 50,000 rupees there. It has been now made 40% tax free, and some part would be taxable. So those are different things. Another so this one reform is our pension reform. Second, what is important is that government is now moving from to make people understand. Forget there is something called guarantee. They want to make sure let everything be market linked. सब कुछ market linked होना चाहिए. There is nothing called guarantee. That's what government is now trying to change the perception of an investor. National pension scheme में क्या है? Just imagine 2004 से पहले anyone if your father or grandfather retired from government? Yes, sir. Yeah, anyone, right? So they get pension? Yes. Right? 2000 that they were under defined benefit scheme. So government gave them a pension which is guaranteed till they live. Post 2004, those who have joined government are now under defined contribution scheme. That means government does not take a guarantee of their pension. Government says, "Aap jano, aapka kaam jane." We will only contribute. You take care of yourself. This step was taken in 2004. Today, now government is moving towards market-linked economy. So your NPS, new pension scheme, is market-linked. Even the provident fund is now been, forced to put into stock market just because to make sure that you get market-linked returns. So this is, the directional change. So this budget, as I said, is more about direction. Then another thing that comes up is that हमारे taxation को inflation से link नहीं करते. मतलब inflation से link होना चाहिए जैसे inflation high होती है. Again, from personal finance, most of the investors, most of the people don't even understand what inflation is. But that's a tragedy. But I'm not putting my head on inflation right now. So this year around, from last 2 years, inflation has been cooled off a lot. So finance minister is not too much bothered about inflationary trend. As far as the numbers suggest about inflation. So there wasn't much done on inflation part except that there was a rebate of 2,000 that has now been increased to 5,000. Not much has happened in ATC, which is in tax saving section of to 1.5 lakh. and they have done some bit of tinkering with the rent that we pay, and that has been raised from 2,000 per month to 5,000 पर. That's again that was possibly 98 में शायद उन्होंने 2,000 डाला था. अब उन्होंने जाके 2016 में उसको 2,000 से 5,000 किया. That you can get some benefit of that rent that you pay. Generally, as a financial advisor, when I go, people often ask me, where do I invest so that I can become rich, where I can become wealthy. So that's a very common question. Just yesterday, I was in Kota taking a session for LN. So वहाँ भी एक question था, हमें कोई best product बता दीजिए. This is the general question people ask me. So first of all, let me tell you, there is nothing called best product available. There is nothing. It's just a misnomer of best product. Whenever people want to make some investment, they first have to identify what are they investing. They have to understand the goals. कि मैं किसके लिए investment कर रहा हूँ. Whatever am I doing for my kid, I'm doing for my retirement, I'm doing for my foreign vacation or whatever. So these are the things that one must keep in mind. Second is that the basic understanding of what is wealth itself is not being understood. So let's say I stay in a apartment which is 2 bedroom, okay, और वो मैंने 20 लाख में खरीदा था. Today I sell that property what I bought for 20 lakhs rupees, I sold for 40 lakhs rupees. Now in the same locality, I invest that 40 lakh and buy another home for myself. अब वो मैं अगर 40 लाख का मकान खरीद रहा हूँ और वो भी 2 BHK का आता है, तो do you think I have become wealthy? मैं 20 लाख से 40 लाख के मकान में आ गया तो wealthy क्यों नहीं हुआ? Because wealth is not your money, wealth is what you consume. So had I moved from 2 BHK to 3 BHK, I would have been wealthy. But if I'm moving from 2 BHK to 2 BHK, I'm not wealthy, right? Most of the investors don't understand this. This is called inflation. So when you want to create wealth, you got to make sure that you beat inflation. Only beating inflation is called creating wealth. Most of the investment that we do do not beat inflation. For example, FDs, provident fund to some extent, life insurance policy is called traditional policy. These are the tax savings things that we do. They do not beat inflation. They make you poorer. Let's be understand, they make us poorer. Their rate of return are lower than that of inflation. So you are actually not. If I make 100 rupees, 105, people think 5 रुपए कमा लिए. But वो जो 100 की चीज तो 110 में मिल रही है, तो कमाए गरीब ही अमीर हुए. But people think अमीर हो गए क्योंकि मेरे 100 के 105 हो गए. So that's again, people don't understand the word called wealth. To create wealth, what all that people need to do is to adore equity as an investment. Equity, which is called share market, adore equity as an investment. It's good for your decades investment, for long term. Government understands that, and hence they are pushing people towards share market linked products. And as an Indian, we are scared of it, but eventually we have to adopt it. That's a message even by the government. National pension scheme for a tax saving perspective is a good option. I think from a retirement perspective also. A lot of hue and cry happened on. I hope I'm on time, right? I have 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. So I just have to check my time also, right? So there's a lot of hue and cry happened on this PPF, EPF, GPF. अब कितना कुछ हो गया कि सब कंफ्यूज है, सब भेलपुरी बन चुकी, क्या हुआ है क्या नहीं हुआ है. So let me very honest, even I am not truly understanding all that I know is बचपन में हम लोग वो गेम खेलते थे तो बोलते थे पूरी बच्ची डिस करो दोबारा से चालू करते हैं. So that's what government has and they said roll back everything and now we'll start later on somewhere. So they have done the puri baji dish. So there is nothing that I can share on personal finance as far as this PF or EF, PPS, everything is probably rolled back. Rajiv ji has already spoken on the black money part. I think so it's very, very, as an honest taxpayer, it hurts me because it's government's incapability that they are not able to catch all of the culprits and now they are forcing us. So it's pretty bad. It was quite a stupid thing that government, again, in my view, they shouldn't have done it, but it hurts us being a honest taxpayer. See, bottom line is, government job is basically like a Robin Hood. Rob the rich, pay to the poor. So that's what is happening. They are now robbing the urban rich and now giving it to the agriculture, the rural economy. And in a way that is needed. India today is among the lowest in the per hectare production of grains. And with the economy, the population that we have, if we really don't go about making a second green revolution happen, our food inflation is still going to kill us. So government in a very right way has taken a lot of money from the people who are rich and now handing over to the agriculture sector. So that's one good step possibly in this budget. So I hope I'm on time, but these are the general things I spoke. I hope it made sense to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashish ji.
You have rightly quoted, personal finance is not about understanding today, it is about understanding tomorrow. Wealth is not money, but it is what you consume. Budget 2016-17 is more about giving a directional change, and it aims at creating a pensioner society. Moving from micro to macro perspective, budget plays a very significant role for a developing country like India. The budget of a country has its overall effect upon the various sectors of the economy. We have amongst us prominent academician from the field of economics, Professor N.D. Mathur. Professor N.D. Mathur is currently Director, University 5-Year Law College, University of Rajasthan, Jaipur. Presently, he is also Director, Administrative Services, Pre-Training Center. He has donned several administrative positions like Head, Department of Management, Central University of Rajasthan, Officiating Director, UGC Academic Staff College, University of Rajasthan, to name a few. He has been associated for over 30 years with the Department of EAFM as Professor, Head, and also as a font teacher. Professor Mathur is known for his pioneering research work in the field of public enterprises. He has attended multitude seminars and conferences and has been a research guide to several scholars. Apart from these recognitions, Professor Mathur has also been instrumental in publishing over 60 research papers in journals of national and international repute. He has also authored and reviewed countless books. I would now request Professor Mathur to kindly deliver his address.
No, 10 minutes?
Yes, thank you very much.
हासिल है जिंदगी हसरतों के सिवा कुछ नहीं, ये किया नहीं, वो हुआ नहीं, ये रहा नहीं, वो मिला नहीं. This campus is quite vibrant. I was here on 4th on corporate governance seminar, and then again with Mr. Sogani, I was here on 4th. Then again on 11th I am here. So this shows the vibrancy of this campus. Friends, two speakers have already spoken. Mr. Sogani talked about the VDIS and other schemes. Actually, what happens that when we grow old, we want that our hair should be black and the money should be white. But actually, what happens that the hairs become white and the money becomes black, and that's why we need the VDIS. Then he also talked about, Mr. Modani talked about various issues, and the important issue was of the gender issue, that the women are less rational. As he said, that financial literacy is less. In fact, it is the theory of comparative advantage that works, that in what you are expert, and we normally do in what we are expert. But he could present a good situation of economics, which is how economics and economics is different, that he could try to show. But there is gender budgeting nowadays, and more resources are going to the other part. Madam Kothari had mailed me 3 issues. The first issue was whether this budget is conservative. Number 2, what is the impact of deficit reduction? And the number 3 was how it will impact the inflation, exports, imports, and rupee valuation. And regard these 3 issues are concerned, let us first talk about whether the budget is conservative or not. In fact, it can be said as conservative in the sense that we have opted for fiscal prudence. Our Fiscal Responsibility Budget Management Act says that fiscal deficit should not go beyond 3%. In this budget it is 3.5%. This has been protected. Where from this 3% has come, in fact? This 3% आया कहाँ से? In fact, it has come from European Union. That the various countries which are members of the European Union, they have a condition that those who want to be member of European Union, their fiscal deficit should not be more than 3% of the GDP. And we borrowed in FRBM Act from that European Union that it should not be more than 3% of GDP. But in spite of that, I would say the budget is not conservative because the finance minister has succeeded in showing the human face. This government was being blamed from last many months and years that the government is not having human face because they have opted for market-centric model. In Columbia University there are two professors, one is Jagdish Bhagwati and the other one is Joseph Stiglitz. And the
Nobel laureate.
yeah, both are, one is Nobel laureate and Bhagwati is not the Nobel laureate. Now his student is now Vice President of Niti Aayog, Arvind Pangaria, who was a professor at Jagdish Bhagwati chair in Columbia University. Now we have one planning commission now. It means we have opted for the market-centric model, not the state-centric model. So the government was being blamed that the market is there, but the human face is not there. Because they believe in the growth is necessary and growth will automatically take care of development, it will trickle down. Whereas the other economists like Amartya Sen, who is a Nobel laureate and he got Nobel Prize in 1998, he says that there can be market. He believes in markets also, that more government may be there, but there are certain areas where is not downsizing but the more upsizing is required, that is education, sanitation, health sector, etc. And he believes in the state-centric model rather than market-centric model. That state has to come forward. Why state has to come forward? Because market disruption takes place. इन पूंजीपतियों के रिजर्वायर्स इतने मोटे हैं, इनके पैंदे इतने मोटे हैं कि नीचे कुछ रिसने ही नहीं देते, ग्रोथ अपने पास ही रख लेते हैं सारी। वो 27 मंजिल के अंटारिया में अंबानी हवाई जहाज से ऊपर से उतरता है हेलीकॉप्टर से, वो नीचे से जाता ही नहीं अपने घर में, वो हमें क्या रिसने देगा नीचे कुछ। So they don't allow anything to trickle down, and that is why welfare is needed. And this time in the third budget, the finance minister could come out with this human face. So I would say it is not conservative. In spite of the fiscal prudence, the budget has been it is successful in showing the human face through agriculture allocations, through rural development allocations, and through the allocations in the infrastructure sector. More allocations have been given to infrastructure sector, rural sector. It has been said that in 5 years, farm income will be doubled. I don't know what is the roadmap, how it will be monitored. There is no roadmap given, but it has been said that farm income will be doubled in next 5 years. Without any roadmap, it has been said. And it requires lot of effort. It requires lot of productivity. And if the productivity is there, who will buy it? Because the low income elasticity is there in the agricultural products. Who will buy those products? Then second issue was the deficit reduction. Fiscal deficit, which is to the tune of 3.5% of GDP. Friends, one is revenue deficit, revenue expenditure minus revenue income. Then there is budget deficit, total expenditure minus total income. This includes revenue expenditure plus capital expenditure, revenue receipts plus capital receipts. Then there is fiscal deficit, which is budget deficit plus borrowings and the interest payments. And fiscal deficit is high, why? Because the borrowings are more, the interest payment, debt service burden is more. And if the deficit is very high, what happens actually? What was the worry of the finance minister? Otherwise he would have allowed it 4%, why 3.5%? But if the deficit goes high, the rating of the country comes down. The rating agencies starts reducing your rate. Then the FDI will be less, then foreign institutional investors will be affected, there will be flight of the capital. The credibility of the country is at the stake. And that is why, to save the credibility of the country, it was necessary for the finance minister to keep the fiscal deficit at the level of 3.5. He could not allow it to grow. Why? So it means, this completely shows that monetary discipline exists in the country. Monetary policies and fiscal policies were not important earlier when the classical economics was there. At the time of Cambridge School, Classical school, there were no threats. There were two principles. There is always full employment in the economy, number one, and Say's law, the supply creates its own demand. But the first threat came in 1930, when there was Great Depression. And Keynes was the economic advisor of the government of England. And the situation was that prices were low, depression was there, the factories were closed because there was no effective demand. Why factories were closed? Because there was no demand for the products. Why there was no demand? Because there was no purchasing power with the people. Why there was no purchasing power? Because the people were unemployed. Why they were unemployed? Because factories were closed. So economy was caught in a vicious circle where cause was the effect and effect was the cause. And that time when Keynes was asked for the solution, Keynes was the ICS officer in India and then later on went to Cambridge School again, and then finally in 1930 he was economic advisor. When he was asked for the solution, he saw the notes. Marshall ने उनको पढ़ाया था Cambridge School में. तो उन्होंने notes में पढ़ा कि there is always full employment in the economy and half of the England was starving for employment. And then second note was there is supply creates its own demand. The goods were there, demand was not there. So those notes were thrown out then and the new economics was created, which is known as Keynesian economics. There was no macroeconomics before 1930. It was evolution of macroeconomics by 1930. And then he tried monetary and Keynesian, monetary and fiscal policy. And the budgets became important after 1930. Because he tried on the first he tried on the monetary front, उसने rate of interest को zero कर दिया कि लोग उधार लेंगे. But it didn't work. किसी ने उधार ही नहीं लिया. अब बेसिक इकोनॉमिक का प्रिंसिपल कहता है ब्याज की दर जीरो होगी तो इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़ेगा. उसने तो ब्याज की दर जीरो कर दी फिर भी इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं बढ़ा. क्यों नहीं बढ़ा? Because the rate of interest was negative. It was less than zero. ये और उधार ले लेंगे तो और माल बढ़ेगा और प्रोडक्शन होगा. पहले ही नहीं बिक रहा दूसरा और there will be addition of fuel to the fire. So monetary policy front he failed. Then he went to fiscal policy front, budgets, that more expenditures. सरकार को खर्चा बढ़ा देना चाहिए. So he went to budgetary policies, more public expenditure and no taxes. कि किसी के पास कोई काम नहीं है तो खड्डा खोदिए, भरिए, शाम को वापस अपनी मजदूरी लेके चले जाइए. Effective demand will increase. So the principle of effective demand became important. That level of income, if you want to increase level of income, output and employment in the economy, raise the effective demand. To raise the effective demand, raise the aggregate demand and aggregate supply. To increase the aggregate demand and aggregate supply, raise the level of consumption, raise the level of investment and raise the budgetary support. More public expenditures. खर्चा बढ़ा दीजिए आप. खर्चा बढ़ाएंगे तो इन्फ्लेशन होगा. अरे डिफ्लेशन से मरे जा रहे हो तो इन्फ्लेशन आने दीजिए. डरते क्यों? कि कहां से छापेंगे नोट? कि आपकी बैंक ऑफ इंग्लैंड है, बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया नोट छापी और बाकी. Deficit financing became important at that time. But now it is not important. Now fiscal prudence is being talked of. Fiscal prudence is necessary because of the rating, international rating. वो नहीं करनी चाहिए. तीसरा सवाल जो important था. One more thing I want to talk about, that in our plans or in our budgets, there are two items, plan expenditure and non-plan expenditure. अरे जब प्लानिंग कमीशन ही खत्म हो गया तो प्लान एक्सपेंडिचर कहां से रह जाएगा? प्लान एक्सपेंडिचर, नॉन प्लान एक्सपेंडिचर कहां से रह जाएगा? देयर इज नो प्लानिंग कमीशन इन द कंट्री. नो नॉन प्लान एक्सपेंडिचर और प्लान एक्सपेंडिचर में फर्क क्या है? कि स्कूल तो नॉन प्लान में है और उसमें जो टीचर रखना है वो प्लान में है. स्कूल तो है, टीचर नहीं है. अस्पताल तो नॉन प्लान में है और डॉक्टर जो है वो प्लान में. तो अस्पताल तो खुल गया लेकिन डॉक्टर नहीं है. सो देयर शुड बी अ होलिस्टिक व्यू. This plan and non-plan expenditure should be abolished. It should not no more exist. जब planning commission ही exist नहीं करता है आपका आज, इस plan expenditure, non-plan expenditure की क्या जरूरत है? The expenditure should be seen holistically. ये पूरा चाहिए अस्पताल तो डॉक्टर और अस्पताल दोनों साथ होने चाहिए. ये दोनों अलग-अलग प्लान में नहीं होने चाहिए. एक प्लान एक्सपेंडिचर में दूसरा नॉन प्लान एक्सपेंडिचर में. That is another important issue. Then another issue is about seventh pay commission. There दो ऐसे important issues हैं, seventh pay commission and one rank one pension. इनके खर्चों के बारे में अभी तक कोई बात नहीं कही गई है. They say that our expenditures will be less, it will not go high. The budget deficit will not go high, but I believe that it will go high, much more than 3.5%. Why? It will go high because one rank one pension they have to give, seventh finance commission benefit they have to give. उनके provisions अभी तक ढंग से नहीं किए गए. So it will be much more inflationary because of this. then